G'day, ZiggyD here, and welcome back for another video on Albion Online. This game has been pretty interesting so far. Playing it, I've been enjoying speculating on its future potential. I feel like it's one of those games that is like, I'm very much on the fence of. It has like 50% chance of being amazing, phenomenal, and something that's really kind of big and interesting that people have been really hoping for in the sandbox MMO genre. And it's also got a 50% chance of being screwed up royally, like we had with Arcade, for example, or you know, the game could go extremely pay to win, it could have no longevity and things like that. So in this video, I want to kind of talk about one of those points, the longevity of the game, the potential longevity of the game, and an issue that I think the developers are going to have to address very soon if they want the game to have longevity. So before bringing this up in a video, I did jump on Skype and chat to briefly the community manager for Albion Online and asked whether this is a topic that they had addressed so far, and basically the answer was that they are thinking about it, but they have not addressed it officially yet. So I thought I'd make this video anyway, that I can help maybe the developers think about it, help you guys start thinking about it as well, and kind of maybe get some of your guys' feedback as well as my feedback out to the developers as well. So the topic is this: longevity in what is essentially a partial strategy game. Now in Albion Online, the most exciting time of the game is when the servers first come up, that first week or so, when everybody's rushing out to grab land, secure a foothold, start progressing through the tech trees, build up their guild island, build up their guild's fortresses and locations, strengthen everybody's sort of, you know, technology and strengthen everybody's gear, and essentially grab a foothold in the world, secure that foothold, and then press your advantage and become dominant. Win Albion Online. So the core issue is essentially this: there's very little incentive to jump in and start playing Albion Online several months after the game is launched. So let's pretend 3 months after the game is launched, the first couple months were an intense battle between 4 or 5 rival guilds, and eventually at the end of the third month, 1 or 2 of those guilds started to eke out a very strong sort of presence in the game, owning a large amounts of territory and kind of not really being able to take each other out. These two are fighting for control. Now, a new player jumps into this, or a new guild starts up, or a group of new friends start playing, and these guys, maybe they can compete for a few scraps that are kind of outside of this initial competition. They start building their technology up. You know, it's a bit faster because the technology exists in the world already, like the tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 crafting stuff is already there. But what incentive do these guys kind of have to grow, to rush out and try and grab land, when they really don't have the ability to do so? Let's fast forward 6 months or even 1 year in the future. One of those guilds has finally won out over the other guild and now dominates 90% of the game land. They have control over everything, and it's basically new guilds spring up, try to challenge, or instantly crushed, or join the alliance of the existing guys. A stalemate sort of develops where nothing really happens. Like, the new people starting the game join in, and they're instantly, you know, they don't really have anything to do. They're kind of bored with the game. Even the guys at the top, the guys in the guild that owns 90% of the land, or in the alliance that owns 90% of the land, those guys are bored too, because for months and months and months on end, they haven't had a proper challenge. So I was thinking about this issue and this topic the other day, and then with kind of almost perfect timing, a blog post came out from another MMO that's in development called Crowfall that I've been following. And this blog post kind of likened this issue to a game of Risk that's played every Thanksgiving. So let's say your family gets together and plays Risk every Thanksgiving. But instead of starting a new game every year, they play the same game. First year, you know, it's pretty good fun. Maybe Uncle Bob starts winning at the end of year 2. At the end of year 3, Uncle Bob has a huge advantage and it basically becomes an unassailable tyrant. The years go by, new people try to join the game and are instantly crushed by Uncle Bob. As is human nature, Uncle Bob won't give up his domination. He's not going to just kind of like, well, I'll just give up this land so we can start a new fun game. The game becomes boring for all people involved. You can see how this phenomenon of server stagnation is potentially a pretty serious issue for Albion Online to address. Now, I think there are a lot of people that would like to keep playing in a game that they've worked on for a very long time. That's the kind of the nature of MMOs, and it's certainly been the case with theme park MMOs, but a theme park MMO, Albion Online, is not. I think there might need to be a server that remains the initial legacy server that starts at launch and never really ends, and people kind of keep playing on that. But I'd also like to see, at the very least in parallel, another server started that had seasons. that was wiped every 3 months, every 6 months, and had that new initial land grab and land rush. Now, going back to the developers of Crowfall in their recent blog post, they said that during the beta period, they had to do wipes every so often. And this is another land rush based game, like land ownership is a big thing in this game as well, just like Albion Online. They are very different games though, and the same solutions are not going to work for each game, just as a heads up. So when doing these wipes, the developers were worried that their player base would leave just after a wipe, that they would be frustrated with losing their progression, and that they would not come back to the game. But they found that after each wipe, player interest was at an all-time high. Now, I really imagine that Albion Online is going to be the same. If there are 3 or 6 month seasons in Albion Online, I can imagine that player interest is going to be at an all-time high within that first week or within that first month of a new season, because that's when the most interesting things happen in the game. That's when that technology race is happening, that's when that land acquisition race is happening, that's when everybody kind of heading into the Wild West, or in Albion Online, the Wild North, going deep into those PvP zones, trying to get those rare resources before anyone else does. So I think that without question there's an issue here that the development team is going to have to address for Albion Online, whether they are going to do server resets or whether they're going to change some mechanics of the game to keep people interested or keep new players that jump into the game interested. Personally, I can imagine that this will be a game, if it doesn't have server resets, that I play right at launch and have fun with for a month or so, and then probably never return to if there's never a chance to re-experience that initial rush ever again. I don't even think adding new lands to an existing server would really solve this issue, because the same people who have like a very strong advantage already are going to just simply be able to take over those new lands. It's not going to be the same as everybody starting on an even footing. Now, there may be some other solutions, but with my experience in games, this is kind of the one that jumps to me. I come from the background of playing action RPGs like Path of Exile, which have these seasonal resets, and these are often the most interesting times in these games as well, because everybody's starting with the same thing. Like no one has any currency, no one has any gear, and everybody's sort of rushing and racing at the same time, and that's really an exciting time in these games as well. But I'm curious to hear if you guys have any other ideas for this, or maybe whether you guys even think this is a problem at all. Maybe you guys don't think that Albion Online needs server resets. Very curious to hear your point of view, so let me know in the comments below. Anyway, food for thought, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.